Hello, my name is Ace. I am an archive associate with the Parallax project, designation number 17. What you are about to hear is a single account submitted to our archive by an eyewitness. Names and personal details have been altered to protect the individuals involved. Dates and locations have been preserved as accurately as possible. The following recording has not been edited for clarity or interpretation. This is the account exactly as it was received.
Archive reference, PAX 021. The case involves repeated emergency calls. The location is Lyon, France, 3rd arrondissement. The time frame spans from November 24th to December 6th, 2019. The status remains unresolved. Access level is internal review only. The address referenced in this file is real. The building exists. The apartment number has been removed. Audio recordings associated with this case were not included in the submission. Only written materials were received. External verification is not advised. Begin account. The first call was logged on November 24th, shortly after midnight. It was not flagged as unusual. Emergency operators receive silent calls every night. Pocket dials, faulty phones, open lines. This one lasted 23 seconds. There was no speech, no background noise, only breathing. The call originated from a residential number registered in Lyon, 3rd arrondissement. The operator followed standard protocol. He identified the service, asked if anyone could hear him, waited. The breathing did not change. The call ended without warning. No callback was attempted. At the time, there was no reason to. The second call came the following night. Same number, same duration, 23 seconds. Again, no voice, only breathing. This time, the operator noted that the rhythm was steady. Too steady. Not panicked, not distressed, as if the person on the line was standing still. By the third call, internal notes began to appear in the log. Not official reports, just comments. One operator wrote that the breathing sounded close. Another wrote that it felt intentional. No action was taken. The number did not match any active emergency history. No previous incidents, no registered residents. On November 27th, a supervisor requested a basic address check. Municipal records showed the apartment had been sealed in 2011. The reason listed was structural damage following a fire. The unit was declared uninhabitable. Utilities were disconnected. The phone line was terminated. No exceptions were recorded. The calls continued, each one identical in length, each one occurring between 12:40 and 1:15 a.m. The same breathing, the same silence. By the end of the week, 5 operators had taken at least one call from the number. One operator had taken 3. That operator would later submit the primary account. The operator who received 3 of the calls had been with the service for over 6 years. No disciplinary notes, no prior incidents. He described the first call as routine. The second, he said, felt familiar. By the third, he remembered the breathing before answering. He stated that the sound was immediately recognizable, not loud, not strained, measured. He noted that the breathing did not react to his voice. He raised his volume, repeated the service identification, asked direct questions. There was no response, only the same slow inhalation, the same controlled exhalation. He later wrote that it did not sound like someone holding a phone. It sounded like someone waiting. During the third call, he noticed a delay, not in the connection, in the silence. Between breaths, there were pauses long enough to count. 4 seconds, sometimes 5. The line remained perfectly clear, no static, no distortion. At the end of the call, just before disconnection, he reported a brief change. The breathing stopped for less than a second. Then the call ended. No error tone followed. The operator requested permission to flag the number. A supervisor approved a limited internal review. The address was rechecked. The building was confirmed occupied. The apartment was not. The ceiling notice remained intact. A maintenance report confirmed the door had not been opened since 2011. Cameras in the corridor showed no activity, no entries, no exits, no irregular motion. The operator was advised to treat further calls as non-responsive incidents. He acknowledged the instruction. The next call came during his shift. It lasted 31 seconds. For the first time, the breathing changed. It was closer to the receiver. On November 29th, a physical inspection of the property was requested. Not an emergency response. A procedural check. 2 municipal workers were assigned to verify the seal. The inspection took place at 10:15 in the morning. According to their report, the exterior door showed no signs of disturbance. The ceiling tape was intact. The markings were undisturbed. Dust accumulation was consistent with long-term vacancy. The workers did not enter the apartment. They were not authorized to. Instead, they photographed the door and logged the condition. No irregularities were reported. That evening, another call was received. Same number, same address. This call lasted 31 seconds. The operator on duty was the same individual who had taken the previous calls. He stated that he felt a sense of anticipation when the line opened. He did not know why. He confirmed the service identification and waited. The breathing was present immediately. It began at the exact moment the connection was established. There was no delay. No background noise could be identified. No environmental sounds, no echo, no interference. The operator noted that the breathing now matched a human rhythm almost perfectly. Almost. He described it as practiced, as if it had been learned. At 14 seconds into the call, he reported a faint sound beneath the breathing. Not speech, not movement. A low, rhythmic clicking. He could not determine the source. He asked the caller to identify themselves. The breathing continued. At 28 seconds, the clicking stopped. At 31 seconds, the call ended. The operator logged the incident and added a personal note. He wrote that the line did not feel open. He wrote that it felt occupied. Later that night, the call logs were reviewed by a technical supervisor. No faults were detected. The signal path was traced. The call was not routed through an active line. It did not originate from within the apartment. It passed through it. After the routing, anomaly was documented. Internal review was expanded. 3 operators were interviewed. All 3 had taken at least one call from the number. Each was asked to describe the sound without referencing previous reports. Their descriptions matched. Slow breathing, measured intervals, no emotional strain. All 3 independently noted the same detail. The breathing seemed to adjust, not during the call, between calls. One operator stated that the rhythm felt slightly faster on the second night. Another said it sounded closer. None of them could explain how. Technical staff reviewed the call durations. Every call ended at the same second count. 23 seconds for the first 2 nights, 31 seconds after the internal review began. No variation was recorded. The operator, who had taken 3 calls, was reassigned to daytime shifts. The decision was described as precautionary. He did not object. He later stated that he had already expected it. Despite the reassignment, the calls continued. They were answered by other operators. Each operator reported the same experience. No speech, no response, only breathing. One operator disconnected early. The call terminated immediately. Another remained on the line for the full duration. That night, the breathing changed again. The internal note from that shift was brief. It sounded complete. The reassigned operator requested access to the updated logs. This request was denied. He submitted a written statement instead. In it, he noted that the calls no longer felt passive. He wrote that they felt reactive, as if something on the other end was adjusting based on who answered. No further technical explanation was provided. On December 2nd, the calls stopped. No incident report was filed. The case was marked dormant. The calls resumed on December 3rd. There was only one. It arrived during the night shift. The reassigned operator was not scheduled to work. He was not present in the building. The call lasted 31 seconds. The operator who answered it reported no immediate difference. The breathing was there from the start, steady, controlled. At 16 seconds, the breathing changed. It paused. When it resumed, the rhythm was different. Shorter inhalations, longer exhalations. The operator stated that it sounded familiar. He could not explain why. At 22 seconds, a sound was recorded beneath the breathing. Not a word, a shape of a word. The operator described it as an attempt. The sound was later transcribed in the internal log as unidentifiable vocalization. The call ended at 31 seconds. No callback was made. The following morning, a supervisor reviewed the transcript. He noted a discrepancy. The cadence of the sound did not match previous calls. It matched a voice sample on file. Specifically, it matched the speaking rhythm of the reassigned operator. No official conclusion was recorded. That afternoon, the reassigned operator did not report for his scheduled shift. He did not respond to messages. His access badge was not used. At 3:20 in the morning, his wife reported him missing. She stated that he had left the apartment during the night. There were no signs of forced entry. No personal belongings were missing. His phone was found on the bedside table. In her statement, she mentioned one detail. She said he had been listening to a recording before he went to bed. He did not explain what it was. He only said that he wanted to hear it one more time. The operator's wife submitted her addendum 2 days after reporting her husband missing. She stated that he had come home late on the evening of December 2nd. He did not mention work, which she noted was unusual. Instead, he asked whether their building had ever experienced issues with the phone lines. She said she did not know and assumed he was making conversation. That night she woke briefly and noticed that he was sitting upright in bed. He appeared awake, listening to something through one earbud. When she asked what he was doing, he removed it and said only that he wanted to understand something before it stopped. She did not press further. She described his tone as calm, almost relieved. She fell back asleep. When she woke again, he was gone. The apartment door was still locked from the inside. There were no signs of forced entry, no disturbance, and no indication that he had prepared to leave. His phone, wallet, and work identification were all found inside the apartment. The audio device he had been using was still on the bedside table, but no files could be recovered from it. Later that same night, emergency services received another call from the same number. It was the final call associated with the address. The call lasted 31 seconds. The operator who answered reported the breathing immediately. It began the moment the line opened, steady and controlled. At approximately the midpoint of the call, the breathing paused and a sound followed. This time, it was not classified as an unidentifiable vocalization. It was described as a voice. The tone was low and indistinct, but the cadence matched a human speech pattern. The operator on duty noted that it did not sound like the caller was speaking to them. It sounded as if the caller was repeating something already known. When the call ended, the line disconnected cleanly. No further calls were received. Technical staff later reviewed the recording metadata. They noted that the breathing pattern and vocal cadence matched previous calls taken by the missing operator. The similarity was recorded but not formally explained. The number was deactivated later that day. No further incidents were reported from the address. In her final statement, the operator's wife wrote that she did not believe her husband had been taken from their apartment. She believed he had already been somewhere else when he left. She concluded her addendum with a single observation. The calls were not placed from the apartment. They were routed through it. Her husband was the only one who stayed on the line long enough.
End of recording. This concludes the archived account. To continue receiving verified records and future archive releases, you are advised to remain subscribed to this archive feed. Additional resources associated with the Parallax Archive are displayed on screen. Supplementary information related to this and other recorded phenomena may be catalogued there as it becomes available. The archive remains active. Awareness does not guarantee survival. However, documented cases suggest that those who remain informed retain a higher chance of avoidance.